Magandang araw. Our lesson for today is about Asian regionalism. So this coincides with our last topic, which is about the global divide, that discussed the concept of the global north and the global south. So now we are focusing about the Asian or the Asia Pacific region. Okay. So two tendencies in world politics today involve acceleration of globalization as the worldwide integration along political, economic, social, and cultural lines, and the emerging influence of Asia as a global force. So kung makikita ngayon, ang world politics basically is being highly influenced by the notion of globalization as the barriers that limit the interaction between states are closely or slowly breaking down. Thus, the emergence of influences such as those from Asia. Okay. So for the framework of analysis, Asia-Pacific as an object of impacted by globalization, Asia-Pacific as a subject pushing globalization forward, and Asia-Pacific as an alternative to globalization. So, paano natin pwedeng tignan si Asian regionalism or yung solidarity or interdependence between states in the Asia-Pacific region? Una, bilang isang object na naaapektuhan ng globalization. So, Asia-Pacific and its states or the states within are highly influenced by globalization culturally, economically, and socially. Besides that, Asia-Pacific can also be viewed as something that pushes globalization forward. So the emergence of products that are being imported from Asia to other parts of the world are a manifestation of Asia pushing globalization further. But aside from this, the cultural implication of states such as South Korea, Japan, to which food and entertainment shapes the world's culture nowadays with the emergence of K-pop and J-pop, can be an evidence that Asia-Pacific can be a subject that pushes globalization forward. Lastly, Asia-Pacific can also serve as an alternative to globalization if proper solidarity and interdependence can be forged between states through a regional bloc. It can be expected that Asia-Pacific can create a certain phenomenon similar to globalization, if that would be possible. So in terms of the origins of scope, Asia basically comes from the ancient Greeks who categorized the world as Europe, Africa, and Asia. The boundary is contentious since the demarcation is along cultural and political lines rather than geographic. So in this case, kung mapapansin nyo sa globe, Russia occupies a vast area of the Asian continent, although it is not a part of Asia. So ang sinasabi dito, the concept of an Asian region or an Asian continent is very difficult to see in a geographic sense because there are certain states such as Russia that belong in the Asian continent, although they are not actually Asia. Okay. Aside from this, the use of the term Asia-Pacific connotes a more recent but less precise label as medyo difficult nga to claim what Asia is because of this geographic difficulty. So this refers broadly to the area of the world in and around Asia and the Pacific Ocean. So typically, it includes East Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Oceania. Occasionally, it refers to an even broader area as evidenced by the regional grouping such as APEC, which include the Pacific Rim, Canada, US, Chile, Mexico, and Peru. So yung pa ang isang sense. The concept of the Asia-Pacific involves the states in the Pacific Ocean as well as because of regional blocks such as APEC, we connote or we created regional groupings that include states which are not from Asia such as Canada, US, Chile, Mexico, and Peru. Sometimes Asia-Pacific also includes South Asia and even Central Asia. So the Pacific part of Asia-Pacific usually refers to the Pacific Islands or Oceania, the island groupings of Micronesia and Polynesia. So taken together, the area makes nearly a third of the world's land mass and 2/3 of the global population. So kung makikita, the Asia-Pacific region holds the majority of the population in the world, although it does not present development similarly to Europe and the Americas. So what is the region's relationship to globalization? There are certain competing views. The first one is the externalist view that we will focus on. So according to this, globalization is an external phenomenon being pushed in the region by world powers. So because a number of states in the Asia-Pacific region are former colonized states, the concept of globalization being pushed by world powers such as from the colonizers such as the America, the United Kingdom, etc., brings into effect the notion that they're also the ones that push globalization to these states in the Asia. So the effects actually promote economic development, but also underdevelopment and uprooting local traditions and culture as Western values and influences dominate certain Asian states more because of the experience of colonialism. Earliest manifestation of this view emerges from the historical narratives about the Western arrival to the Asia-Pacific and South Asia. So ito nga yung sinasabi ko kanina, na because most of the states in the Western region, which are also considered regional powers, dominated certain Asian states during the colonial period, it is through their hands that globalization spread through the Asia-Pacific region. There are ups and downs for this. So merong concept ng economic development at the same time, uprooting of local traditions and culture. So example nga nito, best example that we know of is the Portuguese invasion in Malacca and the Ferdinand Magellan's arrival in the Philippines. Okay, so let's now talk about the regional associations in Asia. So economic and political cooperation is not yet so well established in the Asian Pacific region as compared to the Europe. So as compared to the European Union, regional associations in Asia are basically less interactive in terms of creating strict economic and political policies. So many states believe it is important to keep their own distinct economic and political profile. So dito sa regional associations in Asia, makikita, isa sa highlight nito yung konsepto ng sovereignty is still very much observed by Asian states. So hindi pa ganoon kababa or binababa yung barriers among Asian states to such extent that their sovereignty will be sacrificed. So that said, diverse regional cooperation structures are emerging in this region too. Dahil nga hindi pa kayang magbaba ng barriers that much ng mga Asian states, a different type of regional cooperation structure can be seen among these regional associations in Asia. So here are the examples of the regional associations in Asia. As you can see, the most popular is the ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, to which we the Philippines belong. There is the ASEAN Plus 3, we will discuss this later, East Asia Summit, the Asia-Europe Meeting, Asian Regional Forum, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, and the Pacific Islands Forum. The Pacific Islands Forum, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. So the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, was founded in 1967 and enjoys a special status in the region as it serves as the strongest regional association in Asia. On the other hand, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC, has served as a trans-Asian platform for economic dialogue between the countries in the Pacific region since 1989. In 1994, the Asian Regional Forum was established to provide a framework primarily for security policy dialogue at foreign minister level. So at this point, kung makikita nyo, unlike the European Union, na merong isang unified regional association that involves everything from security and economics. In this case, in Asia, a separate regional association is there for economic concerns, which is the APEC, and a certain regional association is also created for security, which is the Asian Regional Forum, ASEAN Regional Forum. On the other hand, the ASEAN plus 3 involves the three largest economies in the region, which is China, Japan, and South Korea, which have also been represented in multilateral regional structures through the ASEAN plus 3 in 1997. So the ASEAN plus 3 was more of an economic regional association that China, Japan, and South Korea forged with the ASEAN countries in order to promote multilateral trades, exchange of goods, and investments among the states. So with the first East Asia Summit, EAS, attended by the ASEAN plus 3 countries, as well as Australia, New Zealand, and India, another body was established in 2005. The United States and Russia joined in 2011. So the East Asia Summit created an additional or an assimilated regional structure from the ASEAN plus 3, wherein Australia, New Zealand, and India, as well as the United States and Russia also joined in. So kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga regional structures sa Asia ay nakabase sa ASEAN. Ano? So we have the ASEAN, and then the ASEAN plus 3 was created through the choice of China, Japan, and South Korea to join the ASEAN, no? Pero it's created as an ASEAN plus 3 regional group. And then the East Asia Summit was created as to which the ASEAN plus 3 was joined also with certain states such as Australia, New Zealand, India, US, and Russia. So kung mapapansin nyo, parang nadadagdagan ng member. Pero kung mapapansin din, hindi lahat ng nadadagdag na members are from the Asia-Pacific region. So there are other regional organizations of South Asia na nakikita nyo dyan, si SAARC, the PIF, and the SCO, as well as supra-regional forums for dialogue such as the ASEM and the MRC launched by the Mekong Riparian States. So itong mga to, hindi sila kasing powerful ng ASEAN, but they are regional blocs in South Asia. Okay. So let's talk about the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or the ASEAN. As stated, it is founded in 1967 and has 10 member states, which include the Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. So cooperation in ASEAN to date has focused primarily on economic integration. The member states decided to establish the ASEAN Economic Community, an AEC, in November 2015, which is considered to be a stepping stone towards the concept of economic free trade within the ASEAN region. So sa Tagalog, ang isa sa kasi sa goals, no, ng pagkakaroon ng isang regional bloc sa Southeast Asia is that to promote free trade among member countries such as yun nga, Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia. Ang ibig sabihin ng free trade ay kapag magpapasok ng good ang Pilipinas, let's say for example, to Vietnam or to Singapore, lesser tariffs or no tariffs at all will be collected as in accordance to the fact that Singapore or Vietnam or Cambodia can also enter goods in the Philippines with lesser or no restrictions. Bakit maganda yun? Yun ang ginagawa na ng European Union as of the present. Bakit maganda yun sana? Because when you lower tariffs, the capacity of goods, the flow of goods to easier and faster, no, track will be there, no? At saka yung konsepto that we will allow better economic prosperity between states in the same Asian bloc, ASEAN bloc, would actually promote development to all states in the ASEAN. However, ang downfall ng free trade is that most and more likely, there will be certain states that will benefit more than other states in the said free trade. So, let's say for example, Singapore or Malaysia could benefit more with trading in the Philippines, provided, lalo na if Filipinos will prefer to buy or to purchase goods from these countries instead of patronizing with the Filipino products. So kung mapapansin nyo doon, it will result to the development of the economy of these states, Singapore and Malaysia, and the possible downfall in our case because hindi na nga pinapatronize yung products from the Philippines. Okay, so the foundation of the AEC is basically considered to be a predominantly symbolic step. Ito nga yung sinasabi ko, on the path towards an internal market with free movement of goods and capital and freedom or of movement for workers. The movement of workers is a different thing. Just imagine, in the European Union, you can go from one European state to another. So kung sa ASEAN region, we could also do that you are a Filipino, you want to work in Singapore, you will be given lesser restrictions to entry provided that there is a certain trade agreement between the Philippines and Singapore regarding labor movement. So kung mapapansin nyo, yung konsepto ng pagkakaroon ng free trade within the ASEAN bloc will more likely benefit one state or certain states in relation to labor and production of goods. Ang problema lang, we would not be certain if we will benefit on both sides, if we will benefit on both trading of goods, labor, or investment. So yun lang ang downfall ng free trade. But as much as possible, the concept of free trade among the ASEAN region, ASEAN states would be something that we can look forward to, because just imagine also that Malaysian individuals or Singaporean individuals would prefer to work in the Philippines and serve as laborers to certain industries and provide their expertise that we cannot have because of the limits and restrictions that we have. So kunwari, merong mga industries that we cannot perform in the Philippines because we lack the capacity and the resources to produce them. Imagine if kunwari yung taga Singapore pupunta dito and will introduce those technologies that would promote easier production of goods. Okay. So yun ang benefits ng free trade. Next, the familiar criticisms, however, for the Asian regional institutions, specifically the ASEAN, is that first, merong anim. First, they have not played a role in the major and long-standing regional conflicts, especially those that are holdovers from the Cold War period, the PRC's Taiwan conflict, or the North Korea-South Korea conflict, and that of India and Pakistan. So kung mapapansin, the ASEAN has never took a stand on certain regional conflicts that in sense would affect them. Kasi isipin nyo, Asian bloc tayo, ASEAN bloc tayo, pero we do not have a stand on issues that is happening around us, regional conflicts that are happening around us that could affect our economic relations and social relations with one another. So for example, in relation to the Cold War period, Vietnam was evidently more sided with the communist bloc, while countries such as the Philippines chose to side with the Americans or the Democratic bloc. So kung dun pa lang, makikita nyo na wala kasi dahil merong differences in paniniwala between these states, the ASEAN chose not to take a stand on this as a regional bloc or as a regional group because it would also connote certain differences being recognized between the ASEAN states. So kung mapapansin nyo, medyo may pagka-conservative, medyo may pagka-play safe ang ASEAN. Okay. Next, a second criticism relates to the failure of the ASEAN to make use of available instruments of conflict prevention and resolution. So the ASEAN Regional Forum, which was created in order to resolve security problems in the ASEAN region, was basically more of a diplomacy or preventive diplomacy type of forum. Hindi siya nag-create ng mga possibilities to prevent conflict and create resolutions that would prevent conflict. So ano mga example nito? This relates to, let's say for example, paggamit ng nuclear weapons, because in the first place the members of the ASEAN region do not, as far as I know, do not have certain numbers of nuclear weapons. Ang alam kong merong mga ganon ay the United States, North Korea, Russia, etc. So, but in a sense, if a certain world war would occur in relation and a certain world war will occur and certain nuclear weapons will be used, the ASEAN has never created a resolution that would create sanctions on the use of nuclear weapons to its member states, the ASEAN member states. So just imagine how conservative and how limited the ASEAN is in terms of other aspects besides the economy. Okay. Number 3, there is a failure of regional trust building, so which is supposed to have been brought about by regional groups like the ASEAN or the ARF, which is reflected in the emergence of what seems to be a significant arms race across the region. So this also pertains to what I am saying a while ago, that Vietnam remains to have communist values, while countries such as the United States, the Philippines, because of the colonization, has created more democratic values. So because of this, differences in ideologies, political ideologies that states promote, basically resulted to the failure of the ASEAN to create a certain sense of trust among its member states. So sa madaling sabi, parang gumawa ka ng barkadahan na hindi pa nagkakaroon ng full trust with one another because yung differences nila hasn't been put on table and hasn't been resolved. So yes, magkakabarkada tayo, nagtutulungan tayo kapag walang pera yung isa o kaya kapag walang makain yung wala kang pang merienda isa, but when it comes to pagtatanggol sa isa't isa in terms of certain conflicts, that's a different kind of story because in the first place, we haven't created a certain type of trust with one another. Okay. So unlike the European Union, which has long created a strong concept of trust because they have been on certain conflicts and wars together. Number 4, on the economic front, there has been no regional free trade area under the auspices of the APEC. So which was created partly with that objective in mind. Instead, bilateral trade agreements have flourished, thereby undercutting the rationale for wider regional arrangements. So ito pa yung isa. The creation of the APEC, as stated before, was supposedly to create a free trade region in the Southeast Asian part of the world. However, ang nangyari kasi parang kinreate ang APEC with that objective, pero hindi siya itinuloy ng member states. Instead, ang ginawa ng mga member states such as the Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, etc. was they created bilateral trade agreements with one another. So when we say bilateral trade agreements, ito yung the Philippines will enter into an agreement with with Malaysia and Singapore, and then meron kaming mga pinag-usapan in relation to, let's say for example, an agricultural trade agreement. So ang pinag-uusapan dun ay how we will import and export agricultural products between the Philippines, Malaysia, and Thailand. No, these bilateral trade agreements were created among the member states of ASEAN, pero hindi gumawa or hindi minove forward yung konsepto that all of the member states can create these agreements all together with lesser restrictions and tariffs with one another. So sa madaling sabi, ang nangyari ay naggawa tayo ng usapan na sige, dadating yung time that all of us will be engaged in a free trade with one another, but in the meantime, let's create certain bilateral trade agreements with one another that are still limited. So katulad nun, kung Philippines, Thailand at Malaysia lang muna ang kasali sa agricultural trade agreement na yun, countries such as Singapore, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia should create another trade agreement that would promote their agricultural products. Kaya kung mapapansin, parang ang point is, yes, we created the APEC in order to have a sense of movement towards the goal of free trade among the ASEAN member states, pero hindi talaga siya yung nagre-reflect in reality. Okay, so yun. Next, the fifth criticism is while the region is regularly visited by natural calamities such as what happened to us through Raleigh and Ulysses, there is no standing regional humanitarian and disaster assistance mechanism in place. So kung mapapansin nyo nung nagkabagyo, walang konsepto ang grupo ng ASEAN na naglilid towards disaster preparedness and disaster assistance sa mga countries na nasira ng mga bagyo or natural disasters such as earthquakes, tsunamis like what happened in Thailand, etc. So transnational threats as well such as illegal migration, terrorism, and pandemics continue to be dealt with an ad hoc or bilateral basis without significant multilateral action. So kung mapapansin nyo sa ASEAN bloc nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, nagkaroon lang ng kanya-kanyang ways how to to resolve the COVID-19 situation. Pero katulad ng Thailand, who greatly created a program in order to survive the COVID-19 pandemic. Pero tayo, pansinin nyo, wala kasing naging malinaw na demarcation between or malinaw na programa at move yung ang ASEAN in order to support all of its member states. Parang nangyari, bahala kayo sa kanya-kanya yung buhay. So barkadahan tayo, pero when it comes to natural disasters, typhoons, pandemics, terrorism, kanya-kanya tayo ng ganap. So ito yung sinasabi ko before, kanina, nung nagsimula, na the concept of regional associations in Asia primarily still promotes strong sovereignty among states. No? States are still very much independent. Walang pakialamanan, independent kayo eh. So you can move whatever or whenever you want. However, ang purpose 'di ba nga kasi ng isang Asian Regional Association is that through solidarity and interdependence, you can create better and more efficient ways to resolve certain problems and concerns and issues. So as long as yung konsepto ng, kaya dito rin lalabas na hindi sa lahat ng panahon, sovereignty is the top priority, no? Yung independence and top priority kasi ito nakikipagkaibigan ka sa Asian brothers mo, ASEAN brothers mo that are very near to you, that are your neighbors. Sa madaling sabi, mga kapitbahay mo na nga ito, no? Pero you cannot create a certain kind of relationship with them because you still uphold strongly your independence and sovereignty. Okay, so yun. Lastly, on human rights and social issues, Asia continues to lag behind other regions, including Africa and Latin America, not to mention Europe. So kung mapapansin, kung wala nga tayong program, the ASEAN has no program in terms of natural disasters and terrorism, what more on concepts such as human rights and other social issues, gender equality, etc., na hindi pinopromote ng ASEAN as a regional association or as a barkadahan, kung mapapansin. Because the ASEAN is very, very much an economic association rather than a complete regional association. So yun lang ang malungkot sa kanya kasi hindi pa siya dumadating sa punto because yun nga, isa rin sa naging limitations ng ASEAN members is because hindi pa nare-resolve yung konsepto ng trust between member states. So we cannot move forward to promoting certain aspects of the ASEAN as a regional bloc such as yun nga, disaster preparedness, terrorism, and security, etc. So, ASEAN regional groups are not problem-solving or law-enforcing mechanisms as you can see. So, kaya nga walang strong na security forum or security association because they are more of norm-making and socializing agents. Ito ay parang barkadahan na that looks after one another but cannot do actual actions and actual things, no, to help one another. So, we look after one another, but we cannot step on the bounds of one another when it comes to creating actions that would promote safety and improvement of the states. So in this respect, they do conform to the general mode of international organizations which generally lack coercive enforcement power but act as instruments of socialization and legitimation. So, wag naman tayong malulungkot, ay ma'am, pangit po pala ang ASEAN, as compared to the EU. It's not like that because if you are going to remember, the United Nations is actually very much similar to this. However, the United Nations have a Human Rights Council, a Security Council, etc. Pero kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga council din naman na yun is dependent upon the states that are members of it, no? So kunwari, if the United States don't want to recognize the legitimacy of the United Nations, hindi rin siya magpa-function for under it, no, bilang isang organization. So similar to this, hindi man tayo nakaka-create pa ng strong law enforcement and problem-solving mechanisms under the ASEAN. It's something that we can rely on in terms of steps, no, in creating a regional bloc or strong regional bloc in the ASEAN kasi compared sa ibang mga regional associations na nabanggit, no, yung ASEAN Plus 3, yung konsepto ng SAARC, the ASEAN is actually the strongest regional bloc that can be promoted in the Asia-Pacific region. So, as of the present, the ASEAN is more of an instrument of socialization and legitimation, more of getting to know the member states one another and creating trust more before moving towards more drastic measures that could help all the ASEAN member states. Pero ito lang ang kailangan nyo ring tandaan. Remember that these ASEAN states kasi are former colonies. Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and the Philippines are former colonies that are trying to stand on their own and to promote sovereignty. Kaya maintindihan mo rin eh. Maintindihan mo kung bakit sovereignty and independence is very much important to them. Because it is just parang yesterday that they got their independence from the colonized states. So imagine niyo to, parang kakalaya mo lang, galing ka sa kulungan, and then you want to be friends agad with other people outside. Siyempre mahihirapan ka mag-trust because you have to create your certain notion of independence first before you can come up with relationships with other states in the Asia Pacific region. So yun lang ang that's something that we can ponder on in relation to why the Asian regionalism in terms of the ASEAN is very much difficult to attain as of the moment. Okay, so here are the resources that I use. I hope that you learned something from today's lesson. And please do the activity because it will open your eyes to how much yung sinasabi kong extent lang ng cooperation that is happening among the ASEAN states. At inulit ko, we cannot blame them that they still promote highly of their independence and their sovereignty and their own ways of doing things Kasi nga it's something that is not given, it's just given to them and it is something that they are just trying to experience bilang isang estado, yung maging malaya and not be influenced by other states. Okay.